welcome to the brand new edition of Policy Watch. I'm Kriti Mishra. Today we'll analyze two important policies, One Nation, One Card policy in the offing and the drone policy. But first up, One Nation, One Card policy. India will shortly unveil a One Nation, One Card policy for public transport. This format has been successfully adopted by leading nations around the world. Amitabh Kant, CEO Niti Aayog, has emphasized on the policy's potential to bring about unified connectivity. The policy will be focused on sustainable modes of public transport, transport-oriented planning and digitization. A robust transport sector is the backbone for the development of any economy, especially for a densely populated developing country like India. The transport sector alone contributes to 4% of India's GDP. And to shed more light on the topic, I'm joined by Mr. S.P. Singh, Senior Fellow, Indian Foundation of Transport Research and Training, and also by Mr. Ganapathy Subramaniam, Chief of Bureau, Puthiya, Thalaimurai. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, gentlemen. Let me begin by asking you, sir, how will this policy provide seamless connectivity between different modes of transport for commuters?
No, in any economy, the efficiency of the citizen is more important, that he should be able to reach his workplace or other destinations lesser time. And it is not always that we increase number of buses or autos or the vehicles that can increase the efficiency. We have to integrate multimodal systems in such a manner where people can do it more easily, even if today you see rickshaw puller is using smartphone. So the question is, people are not aware of digital things is gone. Now whenever we do travel anywhere in the world, we buy a single card. Single card in that city or the zone, say Delhi or NCR. In single card, all the transport modes, whether it is a e-rickshaw, whether it is a auto rickshaw, whether it is private buses or the public transport buses, the metro or tube, anywhere when we travel, the single card I can give it to the pass-through. Splice, it is not even I have to show it to anybody. I have to splice and the money is deducted as it is deducted from my mobile phone. And by that reason, the efficiency of, I don't have to carry cash, this one part of it.
That's
Number
right.
two is that efficiency of, I can choose a better transport mode when I see on the mobile phone that which bus is coming early or which auto will be available to me early. Because then you have to put auto on the GPS. You have to put every other transport mode on GPS so that I am aware of the which is best available alternative. And this card can be, if I am using today, what is happening in DLF Metro and Delhi Metro card is single card. Delhi Metro and their attached buses card is single card. Now we have to expand this entire concept to all modes of transports through this card, and it will bring down the transportation cost. It will bring down the timing, and we will be able to utilize the present asset in a better manner. That is the issue.
Mr. Subramaniam, how important is this policy for government strategy on sustainable modes of transportation?
Because yes, yesterday we heard the Prime Minister also talking about integrated modes of transport and convenience for the public. It's very, very important in a city like Delhi. It's a very good example, which has on the one side we have Uttar Pradesh, on the other side we have Haryana. People keep traveling between Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh almost on a daily basis, lakhs of customers. So to make that more efficient and also to prevent pilferage, like Delhi Transport Corporation, why did it become such a loss-making corporation? It's because of pilferage and due to a lot of wrong practices. If they are brought into the digital mode, one, public transport will not make losses. Secondly, it will be much easier for the consumers to pay, and for the corporations also it is very good because they get their cash and everything on an on-time basis. So the chances of pilferage is less. Due to these multiple advantages, this kind of a system is adopted all over the world. London, Hong Kong, Singapore, I mean wherever you go, there are very good examples of how to operate it very efficiently. And in India, the metro is becoming the anchor for urban transport. Like Delhi, the network is all over the place, and which is the basic network. And now we have every city, whether it is Bangalore or Pune, one by one, every city is getting a metro, and soon the network will only widen. So therefore, it is possible to have the metro as an anchor, and all the connecting services, the feeder buses, the autos, taxis, like Mr. Singh said, they should all be connected via GPS so that they all come into the digital mapping. The passenger is safe and the passenger is not fleeced, pays the correct fee, and the right money goes to the right person, does not get pilfered anywhere. So it is a win-win situation for everybody. In London, Barclays Bank partnered for the Octopus card to do it because it's very profitable. And London population, you can compare it with Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore or Chennai. These market is huge and it can become very successful, and we will have the latest technology at no extra cost to anybody. Only it will be an advantage and win-win for everybody.
That's right. Coming to you, Mr. Singh, how can government integrate different stakeholders across departments for this policy?
You see, the government, it is a nodal agency. Either it has to be the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. That is the best possible forum. Niti Aayog can only formulate the policy. So then one nodal agency which can have the transport ministers of all the states on board. And that committee should have a time bound 3 months, 6 months timeline, that how we are going to have the partners, whether it is a HDFC bank, whether it is a Barclays there, or whether we want to have ICI bank, or whether we want to have SBI. We can have number of options we are available, which today FASTag on the toll payment across the country. We have single tag where we can cross the any toll plaza and with a single tag. So we already have in bits and pieces such things. Not only this card can be used by a trucker for passing through the toll plaza also. The encashability of this card should be very universal. That is number one. Same card I may be able to use it in the hotel also. It should not have so much of worry. After somebody has to deduct money, and the end of the day, it is to be deducted by the deduction has to come digital manner. So more and more we make it easy for the people. So the public transport system today, we are tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Their growth is much faster than the metro cities because metro cities are saturating. And now we are talking of 110 smart cities also. Now when we are going to have smart cities, then we have to have a very clear-cut policy that what type of integration we will have about the public transport, whether it is a movement of men or material. Everything should have a system where vehicle is entering Delhi, whether it is a truck or a bus, or vehicle is entering Bangalore or Hosur. There should be, anybody can track it and see it, that passenger, if you are sending your family member on a bus, he or she can always inform you that I am in this bus and you can track it. So
That's
what
right.
happens is, it is not only a question of financial viabilities for the people, it is a question of safety of the passengers also, that their family members can be aware of their availability. They can always be fast to reach their office. Now what is happening? Now yesterday Prime Minister and Mr. Nitin Gadkari have talked that they are going to have a expressway for the express rail between Meerut and Delhi. Most of the populations are concentrated in big cities and around, Best thing is that if I can go in 1 hour to Chandigarh or 45 minutes to Meerut, then I will locate my house there rather than coming every, here. Then I can come only through. In London, person who is earning about $30,000 a month is using tube.
Yes.
In India, there is a huge ego issue that I am a person earning 50,000 rupees a month, I must have my own vehicle. This is because first is the ego issue, status issue. Third is that people are very scared that if Delhi Metro is saturated, every system in India gets saturated and it weans away people from using them. So first we have to create a system where people are able to get convenient system, then they will adopt these digital cards. Otherwise, what will happen if he has to go to a crowded bus or if the interstate bus terminal is shrinking, then he will not be using these cards. The question is, mere card is not a panacea. You have to do several acts to put together that if I go to that place, in Beijing or Shanghai, if you go to a railway station, you would feel that you have come to an airport. So the feeling of why I am as a middle class are not able to go to that place, because I feel it is not good for me.
That's right. Mr. Subramaniam, you mentioned about London. In London, an Oyster card allows you to travel on metro, on suburban trains and also on buses. Any specific lesson that India could pick up from these countries where this policy is very successful?
See, we have many cities in India and people keep traveling. Like only recently there is a survey which says even internationally, Indians are among the most traveled people in India and ranked number 4th in the world. So within the country, there's huge lot of travel. Like people go from one city to another to study, one city to another to work, etc. When they go there, land at an airport or a railway station, why should they go around looking for how do I buy a ticket and travel by a local public transport, or how do I book a cab or a three-wheeler, whatever. If there is a system, like nowadays when I go to buy milk in the morning, I find that people paying with their mobile phones. And Mother Dairy even has a small digital card with which you can pay, a prepaid card. You don't need to have to carry cash. Like that, everywhere we can bring about an integrated system. One card which can be used for railway, metro, urban buses, even paying cabs, etc. Now, when you pay for your Ola and Uber through your phone, why can't you pay the other cabs also through your phone? Yes. And it is, as you mentioned earlier, it's much safer and convenient. Also, we have a huge problem of pollution all over India.
That's right.
Pollution, and there is a compulsion to bring electric vehicles. So government can use this opportunity to bring everybody into the digital mode and also into the electric mode. At least in the cities we can start with. If you start with the mega cities, 6 mega cities, and then go into other places, 1, we are cutting down on pollution. 2, we are going digital, and 3, we are making the financial system and the convenience of consumers very important, because consumer, for him to travel, if it is easier to pay by the digital mode, he will be very happy to do that. That's what we are seeing now since 2016. I think therefore they should marry all these policies and push it together.
Point well taken. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Singh. Mr. Subramaniam, please stay on with us for the next segment as well. So this policy will ensure seamless connectivity between various modes of transport. Time for a short break now. On the other side, we'll analyze the drone policy. Stay tuned.
India is spending something like $10 billion a year in fertilizer costs. If we have better management, there's a massive financial saving there. Prime Minister Mr. Modi has already, in his Man Ki Baat statement from November last year, made a call to halve fertilizer use in India. That's an amazingly ambitious call. For some people, the solution will be more efficient, smarter fertilizers. For other people, they say, no, I want to go organic and, for example, have a zero-budget natural farming. I personally think that both have got things to offer, and let's see how they get on in the years ahead, which one is going to deliver most effectively. The big challenge for nitrogen is that most people don't know about it. Everybody has heard of carbon. You get a carbon footprint with your breakfast cereal nowadays, but if I talk about nitrogen, many people don't know about it. That awareness has to be the #1 issue, because until everybody's aware, we do nothing.
Watch Eureka with Professor Mark Azarton, Chair at International Nitrogen Initiative. Saturday 4 p.m. and Sunday 12 noon, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Policy Watch. Now we'll take a closer look at the new drone policy. The Civil Aviation Ministry has finalized the national drone policy, which will be effective from December 1. The policy has classified the drones into multiple categories according to the weight. All drones except for the ones in nano category and those owned by government and intelligence agencies will have to be registered. Operators will get instant approvals through a portal or digital sky platform for the use of drones. And for more on this, I'm joined by Mr. Anil Choudhary, former Secretary, Internal Security, Ministry of Home Affairs, and Mr. Ganapathy Subramaniam, Chief of Bureau, Puthiya, Thalaimurai. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, both of you. Let me begin by asking you, sir, how important is this policy for efficacious drone ecosystem in India?
Kriti, the policy looks good. I have no problem with its being adopted. But I see huge gaps in its implementation and monitoring. You see, when you're talking of unmanned aerial vehicles or whatever systems, it's a huge, from 2 kilograms to up to 50 kilograms and above. And unmanned aerial vehicles are capable of taking on transatlantic flights and carrying missiles. But then, you see, we have to see that the payload, what is being loaded on these systems, is totally uncontaminated, cannot cause destruction of innocent lives in crowded areas. It's going to be a huge task. You see, I look at it as a good, well-intentioned move, like several other moves of the government. But how it is implemented on the ground, how the system, verification systems in our country, unfortunately, are not as sharp and as well defined and as good as in the US, from where we are replicating this practice. See, so we must prepare the ground. Who's going to respond? Indian Air Force. Where is the Indian Air Force all over the country? They are limited to the Air Force stations, which are X, Y, Z. And the Airport Authority of India, which is airports only. But these are capable of taking off from anywhere. Any open ground, they can take off. How can the Airport Authority of India monitor the movement of UAVs in, let's say, wherever? It will not be possible. Police, they say yes, they can. Police is ill-equipped. They're overloaded with so much work. Now, one more thing which this Thanedar sitting somewhere, SHO, will not know what a drone is. First, you have to show him. See, it's okay, it's very good. It can flood relief, yes. Agriculture, yes. Congestion, traffic control, all that, good uses. But, and inside your halls, do as much as you want. Do photography. We've seen weddings being photographed by videos on drones. I have no problem with that. But when it is an open public area, you've got to take huge security precautions to see that they're not misused. They don't fall into wrong hands. We know we face a fairly high threat from terrorists. Sixth all world, globally, India is the sixth highest, which faces threat from Islamic jihadists, terrorists, whatever you want. If they get hold of this and in the vulnerable areas, vital installations, they have to stay clear of that. Radars are not capable of detecting them. Radars detect high-flying objects. These are low-flying objects. Who's going to? What are the? You see, how to identify, how to analyze, how to neutralize if there's a threat. That is going to hold the key, in my view.
Absolutely. Mr. Subramaniam, how will be this digital sky platform managed?
See, going by the global experience, drones can be put for very good uses, like disaster relief, etc., or for medical emergencies. Many applications are available. But we have to see this policy in the backdrop of why it has come about now. Because nobody was waiting for the policy. All over India, people are quietly using drones, helicams, very commonly used. And
yes.
We see the results also in the social media and in media everywhere. Lots of beautiful pictures and shots, videos taken from helicams.
That's right.
Now it's being done in an unregulated way. People are importing it left, right and center. Wherever they find a source, they import and then they use it. There seems to be no regulation at all. That is, therefore, the government has now brought in this policy. Probably this is, as Mr. Choudhary said, just only the first step. We have a long way to go in identifying them, who is the user, what is he using it for, etc., etc. If you remember mobile phones, when we brought in mobile phones in the beginning, nobody had a clue who is owning the mobile phone, who is the owner of the SIM card. Everybody was calling everybody. I mean, it was used for blackmailing, kidnapping, etc. So slowly, IEMI was introduced to identify each and every phone. Now it is possible each and every phone coming into India comes with a unique ID. Similarly, each and every SIM card has ownership. We know who is, because somebody has to provide a valid ID and get the SIM card. Similarly, now when we get the helicam or any other type of drone registered, and who is going to be the operator, both will be registered. Then only it is possible to track. So therefore, as a first step, this is okay, but we have a very, very long way to go. If we put it in the right direction, it can be used for very good use, especially in any case of any earthquake or any other disaster, any flood or any medical emergency, where any even fire. Suppose there is a fire in a building and something has to be reached there. Human beings cannot go. A drone can go and deliver it there. So those are the possibilities. Drone can even evacuate people from terrace or whatever. So it should be pushed in the right direction. Then we have a lot of benefits. If it goes into the wrong direction, as Mr. Choudhary said, most technologies are prone to misuse. So there is a lot of danger also. So we have to make sure that the dangers are avoided and we put it in the right direction so that we use it in a very effective manner in case of disasters and emergencies.
That's right. Mr. Choudhary, you mentioned about several challenges. Now, what could be the caveats or riders in the policy?
See, I agree with Mr. Subramaniam. Technology is advancing very rapidly globally. Dynamics of information systems and technologies are rapidly advancing. Unfortunately, in our country, policymakers have not been able to frame and come to terms with how to make sure that this globalization, information technology is used for the legitimate purpose it is meant to be. That is my concern. Otherwise, it's good. You cannot sit back. Technology will advance. We should advance. We have the best technical brains in this country.
Absolutely.
Working for Israel, America, France. They're not working here because we don't pay them enough. I've had the privilege of visiting hush-hush IT zones where I found hordes of Indian youngsters working, having dosa idli during cafeteria, because they're working, they're being paid much more in the US, in Israel. And in our country, where we have the best IT brains, we are still being, I don't know, bureaucracy, political leadership has to come to terms. We must advance. We must pay them better. We must keep our brains here so that there is, indigenous technological expertise and we don't depend on the multinational companies. And I would be very happy if where are these drones going to be made? What are the systems? What is the payload? Who's operating them? From where it is being operated, you cannot see. You're supposed to be line of sight vision. And only during daytime, when the weather is bad, you can't drive. Who's going to monitor? You see, that is my concern. Having been an internal security person, my concerns are, internal security, but I'm all for technology. We should move ahead. It's a good step in the right direction, but big if we are able to see implementation on the ground is as per intended.
Absolutely. Mr. Subramaniam, who according to this policy is eligible to fly the drones?
See, even somebody who has just completed school and joined college can use, that is the qualification. They just said the school final is the qualification. But the point is, what is the background of the person, etc. We know we should clearly be, if suppose some drone causes any damage, any accident, we should be immediately identify who is the operator of the drone and who is the owner of the drone. Both should be identified, just like an automobile, like a car. Who is the driver, who is the owner, both we should know. For doing this, the concern expressed by Mr. Choudhary, how do we tackle it? By encouraging our forces and our police to use more and more drones. How, if the three forces are using more drones, they will know how to control them. In fact, drones are, how are they operated? They are operated through wireless mode. So our people should have the capability to hack them. If a drone is going in the wrong direction, we should have the capability to hack them and take them away from the way of harm. So that is the technology we need. For having that technology, we should use more and more drones. Like for example, police should use drones for traffic management. Then they will be able to move to the next step. They will be able to use it for surveillance also. Similarly, if our Air Force and Navy and others start using drones more, they will then gain the capability to contain damage. So more of technology is the answer to this problem.
Will this policy foster technology and innovation in development of drones?
Well, I'm not sure whether it will, because you see, where is the capabilities? Who's going to make drones? Is it going to be Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, or who's going to do it? Or is going to? I think mostly they're going to be imported initially. They're much cheaper, made in China and other places. They're going to, because it's going to put to commercial use. If I buy a drone and get a license by paying some amount of money, I'll make sure I get my returns. The poor farmers who need the drone will not be able to afford it. Let's face realities on the ground today as they exist. Well, it's a good thing. Technology should come in. I agree entirely, and I'm happy.
Lastly, sir, will this be a new episode in India's aviation industry?
Definitely, but we have to separate it from aviation a little bit. Commercial aviation is one thing. There's a long way before drones get there. Like in Dubai, it's already being tested. Can drones be used as helicopters to transport people from one place to another as an air taxi kind of a service? That is possible in the future. But right now, aviation, civil aviation is separate, and drones, the use is very in a limited way. And also, as Mr. Choudhary pointed out, only as a hobby, some college students and school students are making them and using them. We are actually not manufacturing them commercially. It's mostly imported from China as a toy. But the real good applications, if we need, then we have to build good quality, and those are available in other countries now, not in India. So initially import, and then later on we should be able to develop, to track them, and then to put them to correct use, register them, etc., and monitor them through GPS, etc. And like for example, Amazon and others say that we will deliver your stuff to your home, or pizza will be delivered to you by drone. But technology has to make it so cheap that it should be possible. Right now it will not be possible. It's easy to send a human being to deliver those things, but in future it is possible. But transporting human beings as of now is not allowed in this policy, and doesn't look like a reality at the moment. It's a long way. But for other applications, to deliver medicine or for deliver aid, etc., or for emergencies, it's very useful now. But this is the takeoff stage. From this stage we have to move gradually and reach there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. So the policy will trigger commercial production of drones and open opportunities for several commercial sectors. That's all we have for you in this edition of Policy Watch. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.